carry on and plan the sequel. Because let's face it, baby, these days, you gotta have a sequel.
And welcome back to Microqueers. It's our sporadic queer horror movie or queer adjacent documentary roundup. And I'm Joe.
And I'm Trace, and yes, we are discussing David Farrier's Tickled, the 2016 documentary, I'm assuming, Joe, for its 10th anniversary?
Indeed, yeah. I thought it was a good excuse. This is not the kind of film we would ever really program for anything other than a Microqueers, but when I saw the 10th anniversary was coming up, I know you're a fan, I'm a big fan, so I thought, let's shine a little light on this gem.
Oh, yeah, I mean, this is a movie that I absolutely screened this for a Weird Wednesday last year.
Good pick. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so Trace, if people haven't seen this documentary, what is it?
Okay, everyone. So yes, this documentary is called Tickled, and basically we have queer New Zealand journalist David Farrier, I believe he identifies as bisexual, stumbles upon a mysterious tickling competition online. And as he delves deeper into his research, he discovers what is a seemingly evil company called Jane O'Brien Media, as David and his creative partner Dylan Reeve are threatened with lawsuits, as well as many verbal assaults.
Oh, yeah.
But that doesn't stop him from getting to the bottom of a story that is stranger than fiction, because, I mean, this is kind of thrillery, honestly.
Yes. Yeah. It feels like corporate espionage. It feels like there is a shadowy cabal. You know, there's implications that this could be a global thing that's going on. You know, we definitely say, oh, it's happening in New Zealand. It's happening in Los Angeles and New York, but then also small town America. I think we even use cells at one point as if to say, you know, we've targeted a small town community and we've gotten a recruiter and they're going to poison the water or something. And you're like, isn't this just about fetish stuff?
Truthfully, because I just watched the Jeffrey Epstein documentary a few months ago, and I know, but similar to how they used girls from lower income neighborhoods to recruit other girls, I was like, this is, I mean, it's all grooming, right? It's all one and the same.
It's all predatory grooming, absolutely.
Yeah, this movie infuriates me.
Okay, tell me more.
I mean it in a good way. I mean, it's infuriating. It's very compelling, but it's like this. Ultimately, this movie is about one bully, really rich, obnoxious bully by the name of David D'Amato, who has gone under the alias Terry Tickle or Terry DeSisto. And I think it's frustrating because we don't find this out in the documentary, but David D'Amato, the perpetrator of all this horrific bullying and this Tickle empire, died the year after this documentary came out.
Oh,
and
really?
It's one of those things where I just I really hate bullies, and I know that's not like a controversial thing to say.
It's a pet peeve of yours, yep.
But it's a thing, like someone that has so many resources at their disposal, so much money, and they can just do whatever they want, and they can, they think they can, and they can, because we as a society let these assholes do whatever they want, and this guy does not get his just desserts by the end of this movie, and that is very frustrating.
No, I will confess, I remembered that there was an interaction between Farrier and D'Amato. You know, we track him down. We spend most of the documentary trying to figure out who actually is Jane O'Brien Media. Like, is there a Jane O'Brien? Is she a real person? Is there really a Terry Tickle? Or, you know, I think the name that she used early on, it was Terry DeSisto. Yeah. And it's like, are these real people? And you're meant to wonder for large parts of the documentary, you know, are we going to track this down? There's an image of a 80s glam rock kind of lady from the internet, and then you're just like, I don't know, that looks like a stock photo that you might purchase with a frame from somewhere. So I remember the first time I watched it thinking, this has to lead to some kind of dramatic face-to-face confrontation, right? Because the whole thing is that Farrier won't let up because he will not be bullied into submission, whereas we learn a lot of other people were. You know, there were other journalists on the case. There were a lot of participants. Like, this was an empire. There were a lot of young men, because it's only young men, fit, hot-bodied, and they've all been basically threatened with legal action, bullied or harassed online, or they have to keep making these fucking videos.
That's the thing. And so, yeah, D'Amato would basically recruit or find recruiters for these boys, and he would give them he would give them money, he would give them trips, like let them stay in fancy hotels, in some cases give them cars, make them dependent on his income, because that was eventually, after a while, their primary source of income. And the second they said, actually, I'm going to move on, I don't want to do this anymore, he would retaliate. You know, videos would get released on YouTube or any other video site online. this D'Amato guy would email their employers, their schools, and say, "Oh my God, like, you have this homosexual person, like it's going to ruin your team, your reputation." And these boys would have their lives ruined for just the association of being in a tickling league.
Yeah, and folks, it's exactly what it sounds like. We call it a competitive tickling league. That's how Ferrier discovers this, as he comes upon a video on a Facebook group, and it's just some probably upper teenage, early 20-something guy. He's tied to a bed, and there's a couple of guys tickling his armpits and his feet and so on. And you just think, okay, yeah. As a queer man, I immediately went, oh, okay, somebody's making this so that we can jack off to it. Clearly, like, this is somebody's fetish. Yeah. But yeah, like, it's definitely giving queer. Like, it seemed like something you might see at the beginning of a Sean Cody video before the pants come off and the dicks get hard.
Oh my God, yeah, when the two boys are just sitting at the edge of the bed getting interviewed by the person off camera.
Yes, exactly that. But then as soon as Ferrier reaches out to be like, I'm interested in this, I'd like to know more. Can I speak to somebody? And immediately he gets hit with we don't want there to be any kind of homosexual association with this. And we don't like the kinds of stories that you tell. And you're just like, whoa, that seems like an oversized reaction. But this person is so defensive. Basically, it's email versions of no homo. And if you keep this up, I'm going to try to get you fired. I'm going to try to ruin any of your relationships. I'm going to hit you with lawsuits. You're not going to be able to enter certain countries. And you just think, what is this person hiding?
And the funny thing is, and this is the first reply Ferrier gets back from Jane O'Brien Media / David D'Amato. It's like, if they would have just said, oh yeah, this is what it is, here you go, blah, 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 it could have been done.
It would have all blown over. Like, it wouldn't have been a big deal. Or you could just say, sorry, we don't do media interviews. Like, there's no story here.
Yeah, exactly. But like, we even have Jane O'Brien Media calling him a faggot in like the second or third email.
Yeah. And of course, as soon as you start to go down the rabbit hole, we're starting to look up who owns these companies, how long has it been in business, can we talk to other people? And initially, everybody is really wary. Like, people say, don't dig any further. And it starts to feel like a full-blown conspiracy. Like, is this Watergate, the tickling version? And the further the documentary goes, you keep thinking, well, he's going to hit the end of this somewhere. There can't be anything more sensational to cover, because how far can the story go? And you find out, like, this guy has been to fucking jail, and nothing really happened. He still made the fucking videos while he was in jail for 2 years.
Yeah, again, pretending to have mono. Actually, one of my favorite moments in the documentary is when he's talking to Debbie Skoblianka. Like, she's had interactions with this because she was in touch with one of the students who was bullied and victimized.
Oh my God, that's right, because it's revealed he's a vice principal, or he was a vice principal.
Yes, and when she says, like, this is the exact opposite of what an educator should be doing, but eventually at some point the revelations are too much for her, and she just starts laughing because it's unbelievable. This entire thing is unbelievable.
Yeah, and that's actually one of the enjoyable factors about the documentary. If you enjoy an investigatory style doc where it's like, we're going to do a bunch of talking heads, but we're going to do some reenactments, but it's very much follow the details, like we're flying into this airport and we're talking to this person, it's good for that. Like, it's a pretty solid documentary in that regard, but it just never lets up. There's so many moments where you think, okay, well, it can't get any weirder than it already has. And then you get people like this where Debbie just goes, yeah, no, that is wild. Like, I kind of can't believe it myself, and I'm in the documentary.
And it's not like we're murdering people here. This isn't like a mafia gang thing. It's just a man who has so much power and is such a fucking coward that he just goes through character assassination for anyone who challenges him. And I do like that the movie, brings in a different tickle person. I believe this is Richard Ivey.
Yes.
Who is a benevolent producer of tickle porn.
Yeah. Okay. So I did want to have a quick sort of side tangent conversation with you about this, because as queer men, we look at this and immediately we get sexual connotations from it. And I feel like Ferrier also picks up on that as well, maybe as a queer person himself. But when we go to talk to Richard Ivey, we actually get to see him filming one of his tickle videos. So his website is myfriendsfeet.com. Okay. But apparently he manages to make enough money off of this, or has over the years, that he can, do it full time. He's got a completely separate location just for shooting videos with all the props and that kind of stuff. But we see a very athletic, probably like mid to late 20-somethings man come in, and we briefly talk to him. We see how the video unfolds, but then Ferrier and this creative partner, Dylan Reeve, they slow the footage down, and we kind of focus on Ivy's lecherous face as he's tickling this hot younger man, and it looks predatory. And I was just like, oh, it feels like we're making a direct link between what the Jane O'Brien stuff is doing and what this man, who is very upfront about, do I get off on tickling fetishes? Absolutely. I'm also an entrepreneur. Like, this is my job. This is how I'm doing it. And this guy is clearly okay with it. Like, he's not being blackmailed into being here. But it felt like the documentary was making a claim that, oh, you could see the darker side of this. Like, look at this guy's face.
I didn't get that from that zoom in. I just got like hey, look, this is a different way. You can still appreciate this and not be an asshole.
Okay, because that's the way I want to take it, because Ivy seems very upfront, very jovial, like just, I discovered this part about myself when I was younger, and then I realized other people wanted to do it as well, and then I started this media empire. But then I just really didn't like that slowed down portion, so I don't know, maybe I was reading too much into it.
I don't necessarily, again, it's all subjective, right? But I think it would be different if they weren't wearing clothes.
That is true. Yeah. So this guy is just shirtless, but we do also focus on we get to see him getting tickled around his nipples and that kind of stuff. And I was like, I don't know. It feels like it's starting to cross a line.
Yeah. And I guess I can't remember. Do they go into is there any kind of contract or something these guys sign? Is there like a meeting where they say, okay, this is what's expected. This is what's out of the ordinary. I guess I'm thinking more of like a BDSM agreement, but that's not really what this is.
It's hard to say. I assume that all of those details are absolutely there. We don't get to see them discussed in the documentary because this is not this guy's first time doing it. Because he talks about how Richard has made him feel comfortable and that's why he does it.
Well, and I think that's an answer right there then, right? Like, as long as the person being tickled feels comfortable, does it matter if the tickler, has a lecherous look on his face?
Maybe. I guess I just didn't like it that it felt as if the documentary wanted to make sure that element or that moment got captured.
And maybe that is it. Maybe it's hey, here's the shot. Here's what we're doing. Make of it what you will.
Yeah, or it could also be, hey, something that starts off as either a business or a fetish can turn dark depending on how people react to it or what they do with it. Because that's the other big thing that comes out of the Jane O'Brien stuff is that these men were lured in with large sums of cash with, gifts and that kind of stuff, plane rides, hotel rooms, but also a lot of them were told this is an audition and it'll never be publicly available. It's for a private, it's either you can do a one and done and we'll pay you the one time, or it's going to be for a private collector and it'll never see the light of day. And then all of a sudden, the minute it was like, do you want to make another one or do you want to do this again? And they say no, then those videos are everywhere, ruining their lives. So it's an interesting thing, right? Because I've definitely read porn star tell-alls, corn-fed boys who went out to San Diego to make some gay porn, even though they don't Here's the other thing. Almost none of these people identify as queer.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And I do find that interesting, especially given so many of these are in small towns where it's like, oh, wow, there doesn't seem to be any concern about homophobia in this. None of them are like, man, not for me. They're all, but I guess when you're getting paid thousands of dollars to do this, who cares?
Well, I think that's the big thing, right? It's, we've got this hotel room, we come over, hang out with my boys, drink a little bit, do the dumb video, and then we've all got the cash and we can go out and spend it on whatever it is that we want. So, yeah, it's an interesting thing because, sorry, I didn't really finish the story, but a lot of these gay for pay porn actors, if they do end up leaving the industry, they do talk about how it ends up really fucking up their lives if the videos come out. You go to work an office job and you've got a coworker who says, hey, didn't I see you in an adult video online a while back? And it's like, I made $5,000 when I really needed it because, one of the former participants talks about how times were tough and he needed some money to help keep his family afloat. So he did it. But then when he tried to go and be a coach for a college football team, that's when all the videos came out and he ended up getting fired.
Well, because also they don't have porn names in this. They're all using their real names. So
yeah. Well, and they provided like their contact information, their social media handles, and all these other things. So it's really easy to do a kind of assassination, just flood the internet with all of these details. We see Jane O'Brien will just post all of their information online too.
Oh, yeah, because we'll learn that David D'Amato has a lot of skills in computer things. No better way
computer
to put
things, and is also an actual fucking lawyer. Like that's one of the big revelations, folks. We're giving everything away here, but the tail end of this documentary reveals that not only did he go to jail for 2 years, but he is an ultimate Nepo baby. Like he has been paying for all of these videos for the better part of like 2 decades because he inherited generational wealth from his famous lawyer father and his very wealthy mom.
But also because his prison sentence was shortened because his lawyer used that, hey, he wants to go to school to be a lawyer. And because of that, the judge gave him a shortened sentence. And that's when this Debbie Skobliankov is like, what? Like, why would any judge think that this man, given the charges that were against him, deserves to be a lawyer?
Yeah, no, it's boggling. It's mind-boggling.
Yeah, it's all very, and honestly too, it's even the circle of people around D'Amato who I really wanted to go more into the 3 men who were like, who first go to New Zealand to confront Farrier.
Those shady motherfuckers? Yeah.
Well, because one of them, the front man was like really, really nice and he was jovial. We don't really go to revisit him again. But we also I don't really know if any of these people have actually met D'Amato and none of them seem to care.
No. I got the impression that they don't know who they work for and they don't care. It's another one of these, if the money is good, then it doesn't matter. But also, it's never come back to bite them in the ass.
Which, it's surprising too, because I was actually surprised by how few faces are blurred in this documentary.
Oh, yeah. It is a little bit wild because Farrier just keeps tracking these 3 people down. We follow them to, I think it's Los Angeles, where they're doing a shoot with a bunch of new guys. And you actually get to see these new guys' faces as they walk into this building. And I just thought, oh, wow, did they get a media release for this? But I guess they must have at some point.
They must have, I guess. But again, given how many of these people were so afraid to talk to Farrier in the first place, it's like, really? And again, you're like, it's just tickling, right? Like, this isn't porn. I guess you could call it porn. And like, it depends on if calling something porn requires people to be naked or people to have penetration, but I don't necessarily think that's the case. I guess
I consider this softcore.
Yeah. But again, it's not hardcore. It's inoffensive.
Yeah, like you could just watch it and say, I'm watching a guy get tickled.
Yeah.
And he's trying to resist laughing. Yeah. But then the fact that we even call it a sport, it's extreme tickling competitions. You're like, no, this is not a sport.
Well, if you were keeping points, if you were keeping time, if you were like, then
is there a league? Is there a federation? Is there a roster?
Yeah,
no.
But this is just we're videotaping people getting tickled, and the videos are seemingly just for D'Amato.
100%. Yeah, until they're not, until you piss D'Amato off.
Right. And then they go out there. But this whole tickling thing is it's like a worldwide thing. Like there are people that are really into tickling.
I almost wish that either we got some kind of follow-up, after the fact. It's been a decade, as you said, D'Amato has died, have other details emerged. I would love to know. But even just, I'd love to know how widespread it actually was. Because the documentary really does try to make it seem like it's in every small town in America. And it's like, it's in Europe, it's in Eurasia, and so on. And I just thought, I don't know, does this just sound really good in a documentary? Do we know for sure how widespread this actually was? Because if so, I want to know how many guys and how many videos D'Amato had collected.
I would wager in the thousands, tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands.
Especially, it wasn't just a couple of years. It was,
Decades.
We started this in the 90s, like the late 90s.
And again, like D'Amato's MO never changed because you even have that Richard Ivey guy saying, oh yeah, like here's the post. Like they were still online in 2016 from the 90s, and it was the same verbiage and all of it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the other thing. That's how I knew, oh, okay, this is going to be revealed to be a homo-repressed gentleman.
Right.
Is because the language was always so gruff and defensive. I was like, somebody's lying to themselves because they hate themselves. But also, it's always the same from person to person. And it's like, what easier way to lure in straight identifying young men than to say, well, this isn't a gay thing. And I'm a sexy older lady. I'm just really into tickling.
And the thing is, like, I mean, there is closure. The closure we get in this movie is pretty much confirmation that, yes, D'Amato is the one person behind this particular scheme.
The House of Cards. It's all one person.
Yes. And so at least we have that. But, like, he doesn't get caught. The big confrontation that you mentioned at the end, like, it's just like he says, I don't like getting followed. This is going to be bad for you. And he gets in his car and he drives away. Like, we don't get an interview with D'Amato. No. So if you wanted him to get got, you're not going to walk away from this movie satisfied.
No, I will say the ending reminds me a little bit of Scream Queen, the Mark Patton, where you really want that confrontation with Shoulder to go further, and you kind of have to be satisfied with what you get because it just, unfortunately, like real life, doesn't quite get all the way there.
I will say, though, this works better for me than that because, granted, it's been a few years since I've seen Scream Queen, but I remember that instance like being my one big gripe with the movie, where it just, that confrontation felt forced for the sake of the documentary. This one, I mean, it's forced because D'Amato doesn't want to do this, but it would have been forced if, I don't know. It feels different to me. It doesn't feel as artificially orchestrated as the one in Scream Queen did to me.
Okay. See, to me, they do feel similar because in both instances, the perpetrator, the villain of the piece, is not willing to take any kind of responsibility or even meet them halfway. Like, I think in both cases, it's, I would like to have a conversation about this thing that you have done that was very harmful. And here, this guy's just like, get away from me. And with Jack's Shoulder, it felt like, oh, I'm sorry you felt that way. It's very, I'm not going to take responsibility for anything, but it doesn't feel quite as closely guarded because Jack's Shoulder still needs to work in Hollywood.
Yeah, let me try to rephrase it. It felt like we had to force that confrontation in Scream
like we had to build to that.
Because that was the logical ending point of the story. So it's like, we have to have a resolution for this in some way, so we have to get them together. So it didn't feel organic to me. Whereas this, like, we don't get the resolution. So...
Yeah, I think with this one, you have to be comfortable with a certain amount of open-endedness. Like, if you want things to be like, I fully thought he was going to be prosecuted the first time I watched this. You know, you think, okay, we collected all of this fucking evidence. Like, this guy has assumed identities from dead women. That is identity theft. It's so easy. Like, we have all the proof. And the documentary just kind of says, okay, we never heard from him again, but the tickling videos continue. And you're like, wait, what?
Yeah. And again, it's the most horror movie aspect of this is the very end, you know, when he's talking to D'Amato's stepmother and she's just like, I'm afraid of him. And it's that's scary, right?
That's actually my least favorite part of this doc, is it's like, we couldn't get this woman to appear on camera, but we just call her out of the blue and she opens up and gives us everything we want to hear about how scary this guy is and how you should stay away from him. I don't know. That to me felt the least realistic. If you told me somebody faked that phone call, I would believe you.
Oh, I didn't get that from it, but all right. Okay.
So slight differences of opinion in a couple of places.
But yeah, I was glad to revisit this. You know, I mean, I did watch it last year and I watched it again this year. And it's just really good documentary filmmaking. And I will say that if y'all have not checked out his, I was going to say a follow-up, it's his next documentary after this called Mr. Organ. Good movie, very solid. Similarly, doesn't have the resolution you might want from it.
Right. Yeah. And the reality is that I think we've been conditioned to expect certain things from documentaries. And the reality is that they can't always give us that without fabricating certain things. So I kind of like that they're a little bit open-ended, a little bit messy, because in a lot of ways, that's what real life is.
Yeah. But everyone, let us know. What did you think of Tickled? And give us all your...
tickling videos?
I was going to say your theories about what the truth is or not. But yeah, by all means, don't send us tickling videos.
No, don't send us tickling videos,
please. But until next time, we can cross out Tickled.
Indeed. And cross out microqueers.